Do you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Hello, everybody. This is Harold Green of Bright Tree Wealth Management. And it is time to stop doing what you hate. Hope you are having a great day. I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited about today's show. And it's going to be a very important show because I think it's going to shine the spotlight on some horrible misconceptions that are out there in the marketplace in regards to financial advisors, fees, and just a lot of different stuff that just kind of gets into people's heads and it causes a lot of problems. And so today I want to help you decipher between good and evil in this world of financial advising, investment advising, just getting help professionally and what that all means. But I want to talk a little bit about my week. It's been an interesting week. I had a chance to spend some time with some family and some clients. They came up from Hawaii, and people come here all the time to visit and just to kind of check out Vegas and have fun on the Strip. And so I get to go pick them up, take them to lunch, and just get to hang out and reconnect. And it was really, really cool. And one of the things I found myself doing was I found myself getting a little bit burnt out over trying to handle some things that have come up that I'm at a crossroads with this, and I don't know which way to go with it. And so I'm gonna pray about it. It's one of those things where if you fight and you win, you'll help a lot of people. But if you don't fight, and you just never know. You just never know what the outcome could potentially be. It could be the difference between turning my firm into a $2 billion, $3 billion firm, or staying in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And so it just kind of depends on, what the Lord is going to lead me to do on it. But if you're a praying person, pray for me, because it's a big decision that I have to make. And I'm going to take my time, because in doing so, I don't want to reach for the sky and then hurting people around me because I'm trying to reach too high too fast and going after what I think is great versus what's best. And so I'm going to think about it, take my time, mull it around, and then just kind of see what answers I get on that. But I want to get into today's show, and the title of today's show is Greed versus Optimism. And they are two very, very, very different things. And so are you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's get it. So greed, like when you think of greed, what do you think of? You think about like the TV shows where people are stealing money or doing illegal stuff to, put money in their pocket, right? In the terms of financial advisors, when you think of greedy, what do you think about? Like, if I hire this guy, like what kind of lifestyle does this guy have? Is he doing this for me and my family, or is he or she, her, he, them, they, whatever, out for themselves, or like, what's the deal here with these people? And, what have you been taught about working with someone? How do you feel about it? And I just kind of want to share this because someone said this to me one time, and I said, there's this person that I know that I've talked to about working with me, or just not even working with me, but just like, hey, yo, check this out. We can do this for you. We can do that for you. And since I know you, I want you to benefit. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And yeah, we'll figure it out. And I told another person about this situation, and they said, that person's greedy because they don't want to pay your fee. I was like, what? Yeah, they're just greedy. They want more for themselves. And I was like, well, I know this person, and I don't really think that they're greedy per se, but I do think that there is something there. And I just kind of want to get into the factors of greed. And I did have some help with this show because, I don't know everything, but I know a lot of stuff. And I just want to kind of break down what the differences are and how you can tell whether or not you got the right person in your team. All right. So the first thing when you think about the greed is the motivation. Like what is the motivation behind it? And, a lot of times greed is all about like me, myself, and I. What can I get for others? Being optimistic is not about not only for yourself, but it's hope for the future. and the benefit that you can not only get for yourself, but also for those that are connected to you. And I had a great conversation with some clients here today, and I just kind of told them about my past, right? About how if I didn't become successful, I was facing bankruptcy. And I believe that God had entrusted all these people to me to as clients, and I was paying all my bills from savings, but I was paying my employees and all the expenses out of profits. And so I wasn't paying myself while I was going through this like dark thing. And I realized that in Hawaii, a lot of businesses come and go all the time. And it's because it's a hard place to do business and people don't make it. They just end up quitting and then going back to the mainland. But I felt that that would be a big black eye on our industry once again. You know, you give this person your trust and they begin to work, and then because they can't make it, now everything has to shut down. And I just shared that story with them and I said, thank you, because you're I've been blessed that you're on my bus. And the fact that God is taking me somewhere, you guys are on that bus, you are going there too, because you're on that bus. And so that makes me think differently. It makes me think like I'm carrying my child. And I wouldn't do anything stupid to compromise my walk as I'm carrying my child. I'm not going to try to dance and or go play basketball or do something crazy while I'm carrying that child. And as I'm carrying that child also, I'm optimistic about that child's future. I'm not thinking about, when they grow up, they're going to become this and take care of me. I mean, that's not the way I look at things. And I look at my clients the same way. And that leads me into the second point of having, then it's about the outlook. If I was a greedy person, I wouldn't be thinking about my clients all the time. I wouldn't work as hard as I'm working. And a lot of people work hard because they want the benefits of working hard for themselves. They're not thinking about, if I do this, how is it going to benefit these set of clients? And so somebody was kind of telling me like, hey, I have these goals and this is what I want to do. And I trade and I work off of that. And that's why I tell my clients all the time, make sure you're updating your e-money. That's what we use, because I look at that stuff all the time. Your financial plan is based on that. My trading strategy for you is based on that. It's not based on, okay, how much can I make this quarter? Can I make $1 million this quarter? Can I make $10 million this quarter? It's not even, it's part of the business, but it's just not me and who I am and what I do. And because I think that, okay, so you remember I shared with you that scripture in Proverbs about he who is in the way of life is also a way of life for others. But when you go the wrong way, you can be a horrible way of life for other people. You can have a very negative impact on people because the only thing that you're trying to do is line your pockets, get ahead for yourself, and you're not really thinking about those that have been entrusted to you or those who have given you their trust. And I like to say optimism for me is about my faith in the Lord, because yes, I am optimistic, but optimism alone doesn't get the job done. I can sit here and be optimistic all day, but if I don't, faith without works is dead. If I don't put that to work, it is nothing. And so that leads me into the next thing, which is, okay, so I'm optimistic, I have my faith, but what do I do with it? I have to take risk, and there are consequences for this risk. And because this is an investment show, all investments do carry risk of loss. Before you invest any money, make sure you do your due diligence and understand your time horizon, your risk tolerance, and then make sure you have a well-balanced, comprehensive financial plan that you're trading around. And if you don't have that, make sure you seek some advice before you go out and do anything. And don't act on anything I say in the show. It's just for informational purposes only. But if I'm a greedy person, I'm going to take risk that, I'm looking at it from the back end side. I'm looking at it as, hey, if I do this, I'm going to make a bunch of money, XYZ, XYZ, right? And that can hurt people. And it can also cause you a lot of like legal problems if you do that. And so with my own portfolio, I take enormous amounts of risk that I wouldn't dare dream of taking with clients unless they sign like a waiver or they sign something stating that they want the same type of risk that I'm taking in my portfolios. And because it's dangerous, it's very, very dangerous. It's very speculative. I use a lot of faith when I'm trading my own portfolios, but when I work with my clients, I have to work within a strategy, and it has to be, again, based on their well-balanced, comprehensive financial plan. My trading strategy and my financial plan is totally different. And, I'll put down $100,000 on an option real quick because I have a strategy and I have a thought process behind I'm managing my own portfolio. But for a client, the only way they're option would get to 100,000 is if I let it grow. And they have done that a lot. And so I'm optimistic because with my clients, I'm taking calculated risk based on the belief that things will work out positively. But not only that, but then also the numbers, the fundamentals, and different things like that. So we have a strategy. And also, I think that not getting too deep into this, but greed, this is a moral situation. Like, yeah, mom and dad dies, I want the house for myself. Or, when mom and dad dies, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. That's not good. It's all about having a good moral compass. And if you're optimistic, normally you have, a positive moral outlook on life if you're an optimistic person. But if you're greedy, usually greedy people they're negative, they're slick, they're sly, they're cunning. They will praise you in your face and then stab you in the back like 10 times. And so you just kind of have to understand, and you'll know who these people are. I mean, they're very, very sneaky. And so you gotta watch out for that. And so understanding the differences between being greedy and optimistic, greed it's the motivation that's wanting more than you actually need for whatever the wrong reasons. Optimistic, it's about the future. Greed, self-interest. Being optimistic, you're looking at not only growth for yourself, but also for others. And again, it's like greedy is reckless. Optimistic, you calculate it and you have a great hope for the future. And it's important that I share with you guys this stuff because that's going to lead me into the next thing I want to talk about. And the reason why people don't want to hire someone because of the perception of the financial advisor themselves. And I always ask myself, am I being greedy? What's the purpose? What is my motivation here? And I was sharing with clients yesterday that I have become super successful in what I do. And we do well because not only do I do well for myself, but I do extremely well for others. You're not going to build anything that's going to last long and be great if you're just doing great for yourself. That's like football. That's like the NFL, right? You play for 5 years, you give it everything you got, you make your money, and you out. There's nothing else. There's nothing else there for you. You're no more benefit to that team. Boom, you're done. But this is different. You're building relationships forever. And so when people look at me, I always often wonder, I wonder, but I don't care. I wonder, but I'm telling you, I wonder, but I don't care because I'm going to live my life because I work hard for everything I have. So I own 2 Porsches, right? Those are not very expensive cars. They offer some, but expensive to me or, a huge investment would be a Ferrari 812 GTS. I mean, $600,000-$700,000 car. I mean, some of these things get up to $1 million. Do I need a $600,000 car? No. Will I ever buy one? I don't know. And I don't really care. But when people look at me and say, well, he's making all that money, like he must be ripping his clients off. And the truth about it is that a lot of my clients can drive whatever car they want because we've done so well for them. And my clients told me that somebody said the other day, they said, Harold, if you were driving like a busted Honda Civic or something like that, I would really be concerned about having you manage my money because if you can't do well for yourself, how in the hell are you going to help me and help me reach my goals and you can barely feed yourself and put tires on your car? Like, I don't have this poor man's perception where, I want to make a bunch of money, but I want people to think that I'm poor so they don't feel like they don't hate me. Like that kind of stuff. You know what? If I had that kind of head trash, I wouldn't be able to do as well as I'm doing for my clients. I mean, some people up 300-400% in their portfolios. Some are not. It just kind of depends on the kind of risk that they want to take. And when I take on a new client, here's what's going on. I share with them everything up front. What the fees are, if I get paid commissions on something, that's a whole different conversation about it. And I don't go in with, commission products. That's not building a well-balanced, comprehensive financial plan. That's about their goals and their future. That's about, if I take you on board and I'm able to generate for you all the money that you're ever going to need for the rest of your entire life, your kids will never have to work if they don't want. If we can get to that point, what are you going to do for society? That's what I'm interested in. I'm wanting to know if I'm working for a greedy, conniving, evil person that is only out for themselves, or are they going to do good in this world? Because we need a lot of people that are going to do good with a lot of money. And, give to charity, give to their churches and just fund education, do good things for the community. That's what I'm after. And for me, that helps me eliminate any type of conflicts of interest because when I'm sitting here trading for a client, I'm not getting paid commissions on mutual funds or anything like that. My fees are 2% and more, up to $3 million. Then the fees go down, and then we can negotiate the fees at $3 million and above. We negotiate fees. And a lot of times my clients say, Harold, I don't care what you charge because you're doing so well. I say, well, no, we can't have that like that. You need to understand what I charge. And so every quarter, their statements are downloaded into their vault in their e-money so they can go and see exactly what they're being charged. The only time there's a problem is if there's fees with absence of value. If I'm not delivering any kind of value to my clients and they're being charged a ton of fees, that's not good. Then yeah, people will think, yeah, man, Harold is not doing his job. He's driving nice cars, he lives in a nice house, but we're not doing so good here. What's the problem with this? Right? That's where it gets sticky. That's where, you have transparency. And some clients, that are close to me, I'll show them my portfolio. I'm not afraid to show them what I'm worth, right? It depends on who they are. It has to be the right people. I don't just show anybody off the street what I have. It's none of their business. But for my clients that have been with me, they rolled with me in this bus. I let them know I'm in the same spot. We were having lunch the other day and I showed somebody one of my portfolios. I don't know what it was, but it was down like $150,000 in a day. And they're like, are you kidding me? I said, no, I mean, this is when you sit there and you tell me you want something in life and you want me to fight for you, right? There's risk that you're going to have to take. And so for a lot of my clients, I'm taking similar risk, but not to that great a level. And they'll say, well, like, that's great. You started with that, but now you have all this, you just taking for, no, that's my personal portfolio. That's the money that I'm trading. That's not the money I'm making off my firm. No, these are the trades that I'm making. So I'm up 1,000% or 500%, whatever it might be. That's in my trading. And so if you want that in your portfolio, that's a whole different conversation. And then they said, no, we're comfortable right here. We're doing good. We're up 200%. So we're happy with that. Like that's in and of itself insane. We don't know how you did it. I said, you know how I did it. And you remember the phone calls we had. Hey, look, this thing is about to explode. If you sell it now, that's going to be the worst mistake you ever made. Do you need that money right now? No. When do you need that money? Probably never. Are you kidding me? You're never going to need this money and you're asking me to sell it because you're scared. That's not even your risk tolerance right there. That's more of your emotion. That's more of who's going to win the election. That's more something different. Okay. But there is transparency about the fees and what I charge. Anybody can see what I charge. Any quarter, a client can log in, look at their billing statements and see exactly what I've charged for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years on down the road. So let's get into this like fairness thing. Some people say your quest to be successful is like you're just a conniving, money hungry, you're just out for yourself. Like you don't know that. You don't even know me. Like you don't even know my story, right? A lot of my clients, they know. And it's like, it's not fair for you guys to be rich and have all that money. And people are struggling every day. It's like, hell, I was one of those people struggling every day, right? Nobody came and wrote me a check that was worth $1 billion. It's a detached from reality. And as I grow my clients' wealth, that's where altruism is very important. You making a difference in your community. Yeah, travel, burn it up, burn up that credit card. We got the money to pay it off. But then also too, what are you doing to help the community? What are you doing to help future generations, right? And this will help people avoid the feeling of guilt because some clients don't spend their money because their family's around and they don't want to be like, yo, these guys are rich and they're greedy and they don't want to look, they don't want to look out of touch. And so they downplay a lot of stuff. They won't buy new cars because, they show up for family dinner and they got a brand new car and and so one of my youngest clients, they went and bought a brand new car. I gave them the money and it was like, yo, their friends were like, yo, how'd you get this new car? You only like, what is it? You like, what? You're young. You're super young and you got all this, like, how? And the client told them about me and they're like, yeah, whatever. And it's like, wait a minute, they're telling you how this works. And you're like, whatever. That's fine. And a lot of times, this is the last thing I'll probably get into. And it's like a lot of times people just kind of stereotype the whole thing, right? It's like the racial profiling and criminality, black, they must be stealing something, just kind of crazy stuff like that. Doctors or, they just want to do surgery to make money on me, like that kind of stuff. And a lot of times it's based on scams and things you hear on TV, but not everybody's like that. And that's where a lot of people might misunderstand the role of the financial advisor and what they're supposed to be doing. And my job is not like, I want a piece of your net worth. No, that's not the key. I want to help you grow your net worth as exponentially as possible within a risk tolerance, within a well-balanced financial plan. And I don't push things for my benefit. I don't do that. Everything we do is for a purpose. I call it money with a mission. And so I don't ever want my clients to think that he's living a great lifestyle, but what about us? And that's why I coach my clients all the time. You guys can live the same way. You just have been used to living the way that you want to live. You're comfortable with that, and I'm okay with that. But don't look at me, what I drive and where I live, and say, wow, you're doing so great. You're doing great too. It's just that you're comfortable, and I'm not going to live at your level because that's what you're comfortable with. And I don't want you to fret at me when I say that. I was telling a client the other day, she was talking about potentially moving up here. I talked to a lot of people about moving up here. And they said, well, Harold, if we move up there, we're going to be coming up a lot. And, it's the flight and such and such. And I said, yeah, why don't you fly first class? What? That's a novel. I can't see doing that. Like, why not? If we're sitting here with this much money and you're complaining to me about flying first class, I said, there's something going on here. All right. You've trusted me. We work hard. We've gotten to this point. Why are you fretting over flying first class? Well, that's like $3,000-4,000. That's like $6,000. I said, yeah, $6,000. But so what? Like, this is you we're talking about. It's not like you're paying $6,000 for a stranger. This is yourself. Think about yourself, right? All the sacrifices that you've made. This is important. Okay. And so I don't want people to think I'm in it for the money. I'm in it to win it and kill it for my clients so that they can have everything they're going to need. Yes. Am I going to benefit? Yes, I am, because this is how the system is set up. This is what it's designed to do. Everybody benefits if it's done the right way. And so the main thing I just wanted to share with you folks today is that I am a fiduciary advisor. I always have to act in the best interest of my clients. And I'll just go back to the first class thing. Is it in my client's best interest that I grow their wealth so that they can live the kind of life that they deserve to live because they've taken the risk? That's my responsibility as a fiduciary. What about paying for college? That's my responsibility. What about getting them to and through retirement? That is my responsibility. What about just making sure that they can be happy on a day in and day out basis as a result of not having to worry about the stress of managing money? Where is it going to come from? And on and on and on and on and on. So the key here is, if there's value and you're receiving value, yes, the fees have to make sense, but you can't just throw this whole thing away because of what you perceive as reality when in fact you don't know the whole story. Am I greedy or optimistic? I'll let you decide that, but I think I'm very, very optimistic. And if you want me to be optimistic for you, give you some insights on the future and what it is that we can do for you to brighten your day, you might want to give us a call, have a conversation with me, lay everything out on the table, and let's see here whether we're being greedy or there's a chance for us to be super optimistic. And if there is, we can take advantage of our opportunities, right? Because I believe that when the motivation is right, the opportunities will show up, and you have to take advantage of the opportunities. And so I wanted to share that with you folks. You got my phone number, 808-521-4401. Call Beverly, give her, talk to her, tell her what you're looking for. She'll see whether or not, it's good to have a conversation with me, and, we can go from there. So I want you to think about this. I've enjoyed sharing this show with you today, this podcast. Until next time, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.